What is going on here?
I mean, I have to assume that Chip Kelly is trying to light a fire under Colin Kaepernick. And maybe it's because, you know, the report that Gabbert was supposed to be drafted first overall, maybe instead of Cam Newton that year, and that's so insane. Maybe I'm underrating Gabbert, but he's been around for a minute now and has not shown me at least any indication that he can be an elite quarterback, where Colin Kaepernick has already been an elite quarterback. He's already done it on this level. I mean, he had Jaws and others saying, I'm looking at this guy like he has the potential to be the greatest quarterback who ever lived. That was to make people as knowledgeable as that even think that about you because of your play at the NFL level. In the playoffs at the NFL level, you've already been there. We know you can do it. We don't know that Blaine Gabbert can do anything like that. To me, Gabbert is like maybe not quite a in case of emergency break glass kind of quarterback, but certainly not a guy who should be, especially with his, you know, jitters in the pocket, pushing a guy for the job who, look, let's not forget, Kaepernick, when he was at, you know, Chip Kelly used to watch his games at Nevada because he was with Oregon wanting to play that read options, thinking, this is the guy I kind of like, the way they're using him and the things he can do. He was studying that guy and the system he was running, and he has him now. So very difficult for me to believe that already Chip Kelly is thinking about moving on from Colin Kaepernick, who seems to be the perfect quarterback for him. Well, I have to assume Stephen A.'s trying to light a fire here.
Well, then you don't pay much attention to Chip Kelly. I respectfully disagree with you, Max Kellerman. I'm kind of figuring that you were in the sunshine in Southern California, about 3,000 miles away, and you didn't want to pay any attention to any cold weather cities like Philadelphia, because I can assure you that this is definitely in Chip Kelly's makeup, his mindset. He is exactly the kind of dude. Yeah, he's trying to light a fire under Colin Kaepernick so he can run his so Colin Kaepernick will run his own behind out of town, as opposed to Chip Kelly having to do it for him. Keep in mind that this is the same Chip Kelly that gave Colin Kaepernick permission to sit up there and seek a trade, and Colin Kaepernick thought he was going to end up going to Denver, but he didn't want to take a pay cut, so he ended up back in San Francisco by default, which basically means to Chip Kelly that you really didn't want to be here, therefore I don't want you either, but since we got to pay you at least $11 million, the hell with it, I'm going to sit up here and keep you in uniform, but I damn sure ain't planning or relying upon you. So here we go with Blaine Gabbert. Now let me say this about Blaine Gabbert. I've never really watched Blaine Gabbert. I remember he got drafted 10th overall by Jacksonville in 2011. I remember seeing him a couple of times over the years where he looked as petrified as a lost puppy in the pocket, looked like he was shivering in his figurative boots, for crying out loud. Didn't appear to have any heart whatsoever. The flip side to this is that has a strong arm, has good athleticism, seems to have the tools in shorts to do a lot of different things. Yes, in other words, not in uniform. You know, when he's out there practicing, you know, he looks beautiful. He looks absolutely sensational, okay? But I'm going to defer to my boy that used to work here, my man Chris Carter. You know that Hall of Fame wide receiver that was an exceptional NFL
I'm aware
analyst?
of him, yes.
I'm gonna lean on him. What he used to make it a priority to say every Sunday morning at least, and sometimes on Mondays on Mike and Mike. Blaine Gabbert stinks. That's what he said. It's not me, because I'm not qualified to say somebody stinks if I've barely watched them, because Blaine Gabbert has no interest in me. I have no interest in Blaine Gabbert whatsoever. But Chris Carter watched him, and he kept saying, Blaine Gabbert stinks. That's what he said. And I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with a Hall of Fame wide receiver telling me when a quarterback stinks.
So wait, you're saying Jaws said on the one hand that Kaepernick has the chance, has the potential to be the best ever, and on the other hand, Chris Carter said Blaine Gabbert stinks.
Yes,
best ever and stinks.
Now, when it comes to Jaws, I would say I believe in Jaws as well. However, I'm imitating Jaws, Jaworski here. But here's the point. In the end, Colin Kaepernick, we've seen what he could do. We haven't really seen if Blaine Gabbert could do anything, even though he threw for 2,000 yards and 10 touchdowns last year with 7 interceptions. Here's what we have seen, and here's where your notion is outweighed. We've seen what Kaepernick has done. We haven't seen much from Gabbert, but we know who Chip Kelly is. And Chip Kelly is the kind of guy that will do everything he can to facilitate Blaine Gabbert getting the job for the sole express purpose that Colin Kaepernick wanted to leave. That's enough for Chip Kelly. He didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. He tried to leave. That's Chip Kelly. That's the Chip Kelly that's been in Philadelphia.
You're assuming that Chip Kelly has learned nothing from his first stop in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Why assume that?
Well,
as a matter of fact,
you know why?
Because he got a job too fast? Because he got another job too fast?
Because he got a job too fast, because of ego, and there's nothing to challenge it when you get a job that damn fast. If everybody's been telling me I stink and I'm wrong, but 3 weeks later, I'm getting $6 million a year after getting fired, what have I really learned?
I will tell you.
What have I learned?
What you've learned is that your first job was a disaster, partly because you believe that...
He's not going to say it's a disaster. He was 26 and 21.
Partly because, well, you inherited a team, and then you made decisions over personnel, and then it became a disaster.
Right.
Like, based on your judgment and your ability to communicate with players, right?
Right.
And now you go to a place where the guy who you studied it when he was a college player and you were coaching a college team because you wanted to run elements of that thing is now your quarterback. Let's not forget also, Chip Kelly is pretty good at revamping a line, at least in terms of pass protection, right? In terms of pass blocking.
Which is a weakness of the San Francisco 49ers. Some would say, listen, if you're Chip Kelly, you want to be able to run the football. And can that offensive line create holes? You've got Staley, but then a bunch of supplementary parts that none of us really know of. You got Carlos Hyde, who can run the football, but his durability might be a question mark, okay? You got Chip Kelly, who may decimate his defense because they're so exhausted because of the fast pace in which he wants to play, and these guys having to make the adjustment to that could be an adjustment as well. There's too many question marks. I think it's a mistake.
Who are you starting, Cap or Gabbert?
Me personally, I'm starting Colin Kaepernick.
Me too. You know why? Because he's better. And Chip Kelly, job on the line, just win on Sunday. This kind of mentality, in the end, he's going to go for the better player.
If Chip Kelly starts Colin Kaepernick, it will be because of Colin Kaepernick's ability to run the football, and because Blaine.
Throw it down the field.
I'm just telling you what he would believe, and because of that, and because Blaine Gabbert hasn't shown him enough. But if Blaine Gabbert shows him anything, if it's a close fight in any way, he's going to give Blaine Gabbert.
You're going to run the read option with a guy who's jittery in the pocket?
Yep.
And slower than the other guy, and he can't throw it as far as the other guy?
I think Chip already knows.
The other guy went to a Super Bowl?
The guy traded away. The guy, even though Nick Foles is nothing to brag at home about, the guy traded away Foles for Bradford. No, Foles was making less than $1 million. Bradford's making $13 million. And trade him away.
Not that Bradford's been really good. He's so much better than Foles.
He did do some things for a season, though.
Huh?
He did do some things for a season.
Foles one season with Chip's offense, but otherwise has been terrible.
Yes, he has. Very much so. We ain't arguing about that.
You know who Chip wishes he had? One of these guys. Two of the best pass catchers in the league are getting ready to re-up their contracts. Who's more valuable, Gronk or Antonio Brown? That is a tough question. Stephen A. and Max answer it.
It ain't tough for me.
Oh.
I don't know this Max Kellerman. I don't know you right now.
I get it. He's famous. Literally. What have you done with Stephen A. Smith?
Your boys can't come over your house.
I'd like to lick the tears off their faces like Scott Pennerman.
Damn.
People blowing me up on Twitter.
It's the truth. Period.
Me.
And last point is this.
That's a blunt.
Stay off the wheel.